All right, so say you have something in your still life like that. And you're like, oh no, what do I do now? What you can do is draw it the same exact way as you would if it was like this, except it's on a diagonal. If you want to turn your paper on a diagonal and draw it the same way, be my guest. But what I want you to do is you find the center axis line first, and you just throw it in there, and you can build out from the center out, or you just use it as a line to build once you find the location of the form where it exists, and then you can kind of build up from that point on. But center axis line for this particular thing, I'm trying to do this, would be in this direction here. So it's a central axis line that I could divide this in half on a diagonal. Once you make that, then you make lines perpendicular to it, just like so. 1, 2, 3, and then you draw your ellipses. You put a center line through it, done. It's really simple. This is just a curveball, and people see this like, what do I do? How do I do this? Do I do this in perspective? No, just keep it simple, keep it simple. So, center axis line for me, from my point of view, it's going like this. I'm gonna angle my drawing towards me a little bit because it helps. This has to be on the same plane as the plane of my chest, basically. So, put center axis line. I just threw a line there, right? Now I'm going to double check it. Not very good, I was off. It was more like this. Perfect. That's actually the hardest part of the whole thing. Next thing you do is, because I'm just drawing this wherever I want to on the paper, it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to use this as my center line. And I'm going to line one of my graph rulers up, one of my graph ruler lines up with the line that I have, as you see. And I'm going to make a perpendicular line. Think of the letter T, and it goes on a diagonal. So the T looks like this. Now I can measure the height and width of the individual form and apply it here, and that will be my top. So I'm actually gonna, now I'm measuring on a diagonal. Usually you measure the height and width like this, but in this case you measure on a diagonal because that's how you have this presented. So I'll measure my height. I'll count that into the width. 1. Counts 1.5 times. The height counts 1.5 times into the width. So. Okay. Oh, I made a mistake. Instead of building this out from the center out, I did not think this through. Height is what I need to do. So what I'm going to do is this, I'm going to make this as big as I want. Let's make it this big. So this should count 1.5 times into this guy here, and I might have to move my center line. Not a big deal. One. So I have to count 1.5 times. So that will be 1 and then 1/2 times. Did I make that 2 inches? And 1/2 times. If I made that the halfway point, I'll be impressed with myself. No. But I'm keeping this there because I'm going to move the halfway point accordingly. I'm just gonna pull these lines down, find the center, and then, so I'm basically making my box and I'm gonna move this here. Okay. Sorry, it's kind of hard for me to do this. Clearly that's not the center, but that's fine. I'm gonna erase it. I have a ghost of that line there. That's all I needed. And then I'm going to cross my corners. And I'm not crossing all the way, I'm just crossing towards the center part. That's all I need, it's fine. That's my center. Now I take a line and go through there. And there you have it. So I have the height and width of that form. I have my center line. I have it on the orientation that I need. Now the only thing I have to do is find where this line is. And it looks like it's about halfway, but I have to measure it. And then I draw this line. I can put my ellipse, and I can put the ellipse underneath of it. I'm not gonna worry about the interior part. I'm gonna make it look like a hockey puck, just for simplicity purposes. All right, so I'm just gonna double check. Perfect. From my viewpoint, this edge is directly in the middle between the lowest point and the highest point. So it should be directly in the middle here. So I just use my halfway point. It's already there. And if it wasn't halfway, then I would go a little bit above or a little bit below that, or whatever it calls for. All right. So now I'm gonna put this is my top ellipse. I'm gonna put that guy in. So again, I'm gonna find my center just by doing this. I don't even have to put the other line in because it crossed through the center. That's all I needed. Now I can put my center line in this way. And I can draw my ellipse right in here. And then the other one, because these are so close to one another, and I just like crept up a little bit, the other ellipse is a little bit bigger, but it's gonna be right here. And then I just have to mark this bottom ellipse. And because if I don't, I'll confuse myself. And now I have to find the center point between here now. Just right here. Run that to the other side. And then I put my ellipse here. Pretty simple. Let's do that real quick. It's not easy when you're on an angle like this, but I'm just doing this so you can see it. Otherwise I'd put it flat on the ground and I would just draw standing up. It's a lot easier. And I just made a mistake. You probably recognized it before I did. And again, that's drawing. Just gotta get used to it. It was this one. There we go. And then this one, let's see here. The reason I'm watching you painfully go through this, literally, is you could turn it this way, because that's basically what we just did, except you just drew it on an angle. That's why I said you could turn your paper vertically. And then after that, you just connect your sides. They're already kind of connected, you're done. But if you do want to do the interior line, you have your center already figured out. All you have to do is make it a smaller, go from here to here, just equal all the way around. Here, and then here, basically. And then you would make your square. Make your square here. And that's why I can't emphasize the graph rulers. They make life so much easier. I've had students in class that would not purchase them. I don't know why, because they're only $1 or $2. And I just think they didn't care. And they struggle so much. Everybody else was 3 or 4 steps ahead, and they were sitting there with their metal rulers trying to do what I'm doing now, which is, you can do it, but it's time consuming. All right, so then ellipse. I did say I was gonna make it a hockey puck, but I changed my mind. Nice thing about putting this ellipse in, you kind of have a guide around it. So this is like a loose drawn ellipse, and then after this I would definitely sharpen my pencil, lay it flat, and then take my time and perfect, erase, perfect, erase, perfect. And from my viewpoint, you can't see the inside of it, so that's basically it. And then what you would do is you would just lightly erase. I dropped my needed eraser. You lightly erase where it's going to be, where you don't see, because you don't see that back of the ellipse. And then you just erase this stuff here. Not erase, lightly erase. And then you have your thing. All right, any questions? Reach out.